that are devotees that are bona fide disciples of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. So we want to welcome you to this Saturday morning reading and discussion of Bhagavad Gita as it is from the original unedited version, 1972 version by Srila Prabhupada and authorized by him. Any other changes in these books by so-called editors is not authorized, and they should be avoided. Absolutely. And so this morning, what we're going to do is go to a letter that I received myself personally. I think I sent it over to our godbrother Nilesh Sharma, and it was in 1975. And let's see if we can get it up on the screen, and we'll read it. It's a very informative letter because it further expresses Prabhupada's attitude towards his godbrothers. And we had been reading in the last session about this. So here it is here. My dear Vishwakarma, so honored to be able to get this letter. It was November 9th, 1975, and there are two very important aspects to the letter that we can review. If you could bring those up a bit closer for us so we can read them.
I will try, Prabhuji. Give me 1 second. Not allowing me.
Okay, so let's see if I can get closer. My dear Vishwakarma Das, please accept my blessings. I am in due receipt of your letter dated September 3rd, 1975, with the enclosed statement about Ban Maharaj. So I sent Prabhupada a letter to explain to him about the details of Ban Maharaj's visit to the Toronto temple back then. He was there as a speaker at the University of Toronto as the guest of Professor Joseph O'Connell, who was also a friend of ours. And we had spoken on going at his classes at the University of Toronto on Chaitanya Vaishnavism. And so he, on his own, invited Ban Maharaj to come to Toronto. And all of you know that Ban Maharaj was the senior sannyasi in the Gaudiya Math. So very significant person in this matter. So Prabhupada says, so I've now issued orders that all my disciples should avoid all of my godbrothers. Please note this, everyone, because there's a lot of confusion in this regards with so many people that have gone to the Gaudiya Math after Srila Prabhupada's departure from this world, looking for shelter there. But he is instructing us here, very important instruction, that all my disciples should avoid all of my godbrothers. They should not have any dealings with them. And now he specifies, nor even correspondence, nor should they give them any of my books, or should they purchase any of their books. Neither should you visit any of their temples. Please avoid them. Quite a few directives here, Panchagoda. Quite a few. Now, someone may not be able to read English, or they can reinterpret it, like Bhagavat, my godbrother, who's a sannyasi in the Gaudiya Math these days. Somehow or other, he said to me in a conversation, "Oh, that just relates to you." Ridiculous. Absolute. I call it insanity. Misinterpret a direct written instructions from Srila Prabhupada. I have received your telegram that you've purchased the church, which I've seen when I was there in Toronto. So this is very good news. Please send me the details. He even probably had me speak them to him personally in Sridham Mayapur when I went there in the 76 in his room. So it was a very momentous occasion for me. Upon your recommendation, I'm accepting Rodney Mort as my disciple, and his name is Jita Kandarpa. Here's how the system of initiation was handled back then, everyone. So study, hear this carefully. I also accept Nakadi Das Brahmachari for Brahminical initiation. Nakadi was a godbrother of ours. He came from Hamilton. And unfortunately, a few years later, he died of cancer. But an extremely serious devotee of Srila Prabhupada. Enclosed is his thread and mantra sheet. You should hold a fire sacrifice and lecture on the importance of following the rules and regulations, chanting 16 rounds, and all the devotional principles. This is your responsibility as the president of the temple. You must do it yourself and see that they also do it. This is the perfect way of teaching. So this principle of Siksha Guru was the principle that Prabhupada taught his temple presidents to follow in running his organization and accepting disciples, not Diksha Guru.
Prabhuji, can I interrupt please for a second? Hare Krishna.
You're
Prabhuji,
interrupting. Go ahead.
sorry. I have Natalie who has joined us from what you call Wordly. And I want people to kind of follow this so that they can follow you in the language of their choice. So if you can just pause your thought for a second. Prabhuji, Vishwakarma Prabhu.
I am.
Perfect. Thank you. Natalie, can you
Hi,
hear me?
everyone.
Hare,
Thank you for your
Hare Krishna.
time, and thank you
Thank you.
so sorry for interrupting. I apologize, but I just shared the Wordly app with everyone. If you can see that in your Zoom, it should ask you if you'd like to use the Wordly translation.
In the chat, in the chat.
Yeah, in the chat. And then you can continue your speech after, once everybody logs in and uses the language. Does anyone have any questions about this?
So what will happen is when you click on this link, everybody, it'll take you into another web browser. And then there is a drop-down menu where you can choose the language. Please correct me, Natalie, if I'm wrong. So you'll have to kind of hold our hands and walk us through this. Natalie, you're muted.
My apologies, everyone. Please grab the link in the chat as well. And then there's also the integration within Zoom as well. So there's different ways to use the translations for that. Also, were you able to approve the Wordly app to join the meeting?
What am I supposed to approve it?
Yeah, so it should be, it should be in the waiting room. Did you see that?
Waiting room. I don't think we have a waiting room because everybody gets admitted automatically, Natalie.
Okay.
It's not working here. I've clicked it and it's spinning. Join the session. It's not working on the chat, by the way.
Okay, we'll have a look at it. Give me 1 second, please. Because there's no waiting room in this Zoom meeting, Natalie.
Okay. Well, then if you'd like to go ahead and scan the QR code for the session.
So you're putting this QR code there. or you can use this link which she put it up, which is https://attend.wordly.ai. If you put it on your, copy this and paste it on your web browser.
Well, I need to make sure that the integration is working. So,
Okay, let's see.
I invited the Zoom link into the meeting, but I'm not seeing it.
Right. What would we see it as?
Okay.
It's not working. It's not connecting.
Yeah.
I know what I need to do. Okay. My apologies, team. I've got it. Let me just go ahead and do it on my end. And then I will just I'll just go ahead and run it through my cell phone. So we'll just do this quick workaround. And then we'll go from there, team. I apologize. Let me.
And if you want to put, Natalie, the QR code pertinent in the chat as well, please.
Okay, I'll do that. The link for the QR code is right there. I can send it to you. Let me put the passcode in 83471. Manage. Okay, and then, oh, that's not right. Okay, and then I will go ahead and put the QR code in. So if everyone can please see the QR code, I will go ahead and if I can share my screen, I will do that really quickly and then we'll continue.
If you want, I can allow you to.
Okay, thank you. So sorry.
Allow screen share.
Thank
Give me
you.
one thing. To all participants who can start sharing with someone else is sharing. All participants. Okay, try now. Can you share your
There you
screen?
go.
Let's see.
If
Let
everyone
me
can
stop.
just,
Yeah, there you go. All right. So those who are using cell phones, you can use this QR code and then connect to your cell phone audio the choice of language you want. And those who are using computers, she will put in a what you call web address, which you can copy paste on your web page, any web browser you put in, and she'll do it. That is she highlighted the what you call the web address on the bottom. So QR code for your cell phones. There's a drop-down menu for the language. Choose your language of choice. You will have a transcript and you can hear it both. Now, if you're going to do it on the computer, remember you can choose only one language and everybody will listen to that language, whatever you choose. And Vishwakarma Prabhu, if I can request you to talk a little slowly so that we can see how things work. And Natalie, please interject if I am saying anything wrong or if there's any more which needs to be said.
no, you're great. I apologize everyone for being late to this meeting. And it is my fault. So my apologies. We will continue. Yep.
So everybody has logged in and everybody has chosen the language. Panchagauda Prabhu, what do you think? How is it going on your end?
Yeah, it started translating into Russian language, but it's just horrible quality and it goes like absolutely like 1/10, like very bad.
Have you tried the audio? Try
Yeah,
the audio.
audio is working. It's opening. For example, I'm using this Google, and I can see now while speaking this text coming, and when I'm not speaking, the sound also is coming. It's possible to switch on the audio, but the quality of the translation, the audio translation, is very bad.
Let's try this for this class and then we will see how it works. Vijay Prabhu, Vijay Pandit Prabhu, are you okay with your end?
I'm trying to connect with the computer. I already tried with a phone, and yeah, something is coming out. is written, not voice.
You may have a audio button over there
See.
to unmute.
Okay.
Okay. So try that. Anybody else who's using any other language? Anybody else who's using any other language? No? Okay. So then we'll ask Vishwakarma Prabhu to continue on. So everybody please mute yourself and let Vishwakarma Prabhu continue on. So I will take over again to the letter. Sorry Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, let's go.
Okay, so we're going to continue on with the discussion just briefly, and we'll move right forward with the reading and discussions of Bhagavad Gita. It's important to note that Prabhupada, in his letters, there are many thousands of letters, Panchagoda, as well, give us direction on how to be devotees. Not only when he was personally present with us, but after his departure from the physical plane. So these letters that we're going to be reading in the future, and we'll carry on with the program, any of these letters in the future are also Shastra. They are very important aspects of how to act as a devotee in Krishna consciousness under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master. And unfortunately, these days, the ISKCON group, yes, them, ignore these instructions of Srila Prabhupada, and their movement has become 100% Sahajya. So we'll jump ahead now to the chanting of the prayers of Srila Prabhupada in his bhajan, Jaya Radha Madhava, before he started every class. And then we'll have the reading and discussion with Yashodanandana Prabhu in California. Hare Krishna.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Banachari Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna tira banachari Yamuna tira banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Jaya Muspat Paramahansa Paribhrajagacharya Sattvaresvara Samadhati Dhanta Saraswati Goswami Bhagavad Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Ki Jai Ramacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Bhog Gopinath Sam Khand Radha Khand Giri Godhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Navadvip Dham Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Jamuna Mai Ki Jai Guru Dwarka Dham Ki Jai Swami Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai All glories to their Smriti All glories to their Smriti Thank you very much.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Narayanam namaskritya Narayanam namaskritya Naram cheva narottamam Naram cheva narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayat Tato Jayam Mudirayat. One should utter the means of conquest, Srimad Bhagavatam and Srimad Bhagavad Gita, after offering respectful obeisances, 1. To the personality of Godhead Narayana, 2. To the Naranarayana Rishi, who is the supermost human being, 3. To the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, then 4. To Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Welcome everyone to this reading and discussion on Srimad Bhagavad Gita. This class is being conducted on the basis of the original, non-edited, non-interpolated, non-adulterated 1972 version of Bhagavad Gita, the Macmillan edition. All synonyms, translations, and purports by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, also known as the Krishna Consciousness Movement. Before we start the actual reading, we will read a few selected verses which were given by Srila Prabhupada himself in 1966 in New York, USA. These were slokas, mantras that were recited by Srila Prabhupada himself, and out of respect, we honor him by reciting these slokas and the translation. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasme Shri Gurave Namaha I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Sri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Svapadantikam. When will Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, who has established within this material world the mission to fulfill the desire of Lord Chaitanya, give me shelter under his lotus feet? Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahaguna Raghunatan Anvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahaguna Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master and unto the feet of all Vaishnavas. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of Srila Rupa Goswami, along with his elder brother Sanatana Goswami, as well as Raghunath Dasa and Raghunath Bhatta, Gopala Bhatta, and Srila Jiva Goswami. I offer my respectful obeisances to Lord Krishna Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, along with Advaita Acharya, Gadadhar, Srivas, and other associates. I offer my respectful obeisances to Srimati Radharani and Sri Krishna, along with their associates, Sri Lalita and Vishaka. E Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. Oh, my dear Krishna, you are the friend of the distressed and the source of creation. You are the master of the gopis and the lover of Radharani. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. I offer my respects to Radharani, whose bodily complexion is like molten gold, and who is the queen of Vrindavana. You are the daughter of King Vrishabhanu, and you are very dear to Lord Krishna. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and who are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Today, we are reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 11, text number 53. Nam vider na tapasa na danena na chejaya shakya evam vidho drashtum drishtavan simam yata na never aham I Vedahi by study of the Vedas na never tapasa by serious penances na never danena by charity na never cha also ijaya by worship shakyaha is it possible evam vidha like this drashtum to see drishtavan seeing asi you are mam me yata as translation by Srila Prabhupada. The form which you are seeing with your transcendental eyes cannot be understood simply by studying the Vedas, nor by undergoing serious penances, nor by charity, nor by worship. It is not by these means that one can see me as I am. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Krishna first appeared before his parents, Devaki and Vasudeva, in a four-headed form. And then he transformed himself into a two-headed form. This mystery is very difficult to understand for those who are atheists or who are devoid of devotional service. For scholars who have simply studied Vedic literature by way of speculation or out of mere academic interest, Kṛṣṇa is not easy to understand, nor is he to be understood by persons who officially go to the temple to offer worship. They make their visit, but they cannot understand Kṛṣṇa as he is. Kṛṣṇa can be understood only through the path of devotional service, as explained by Kṛṣṇa himself in the next verse. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuran Militam Yena Tasmai Shigurave Namaha Namaum Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Bhakti Siddhanta Shishyaya Bhakti Vedanta Namine Prasannaya Prashantaya Tasmai Shigurave Namaha Bhagavad Vandanam Khadyam Guru Vandana Purvakam Kshiram Sharkara Yuktam Kadatehi Visheshatah Adadanastrinam Danter Idam Yache Punah Punah Srimadrupa Padam Bhoja Dhulishyam Janma Janmani Amsho Bhagavatosmyaham Sadadaso Asmi Sarvata tat kripa pikshako nityam, tat prishta satkaromi svam, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. In this text of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is explaining a very important point. That this form which Arjuna saw after the universal form, this four-handed form and then the two-handed form, it is explained here, the form which you're seeing with your transcendental eyes cannot be understood simply by studying the Vedas, nor by ongoing serious penances, nor by charity, nor by worship. It is not by these means that one can see me as I am. So this is a very essential point, which is explained by the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, Lord Krishna. Why is it so important? Because it leads us to understand that the only way to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead is through bhakti. Now it is mentioned here about charity, penances, studying the Vedas. There are so many different explanations in the Vedas about the position of Brahman, the Supreme. But to understand the form of Krishna, the original form of Lord Krishna, is not easy. We see, practically speaking, so many different scholars, expert academics, Sanskrit experts, persons who have studied the Vedas. There have been thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of people who have tried to understand Krishna through the study of the Vedas, but they cannot do so. It is not so easy, because Krishna reserved the right to be understood only by devotion. This is explained so many places in the Bhagavad Gita. It is explained in the Vedas themselves. It is described in the Upanishads that the Supreme Personality of Godhead can only be understood when he reveals himself. Na medaya na bahuna shrutena, nayamatma pravachanena labhya. That Supreme Atma, that Supreme Soul can only be understood when he chooses to reveal himself. And when does he reveal himself? When one's attitude is saturated with devotion. This is explained in the Bhagavad Gita in so many places. It is also explained in the Brahma Samhita. Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena santasadeva hridayeshu vilokayanti yam shyama sundaramachinta gunaswarupam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. That only those santasadeva hridayeshu, those who are fully saturated in love of Krishna, they can understand. Now the next question naturally comes, well, how to develop that love of Krishna? Well, first of all, one has to hear, engage in the hearing process, submissive oral reception. Shravanam kirtanam Vishnu, smaranam padasevanam, archanam vananam dasyam sakyam atmanivedanam. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, there is description of the 9 processes of bhakti, or loving devotional service, which begins with Shravanam Kirtanam, hearing and chanting. Because in the conditional stage of life, it is not possible to understand Krishna to these blunt material senses. We have often discussed a verse which was quoted by Srila Prabhupada many times from the Padma Purana. Atasra Krishna namadi na bhavedgrayam indriyai sevan muke hi jivado swayameva spuratyadaha. To understand the name of Krishna, the pastimes of Krishna, the qualities of Krishna, the incarnations of Krishna, this cannot be understood. Nabhavam grayam indriyai. Indriyai means, oh, thank you very much. This means, let me just move this little thing here. Therefore, material senses cannot appreciate Krishna's holy name, form, qualities, and pastimes. When a conditioned soul is awakened to Krishna consciousness and renders service by using his tongue to chant the Lord's holy name and taste the remnants of the Lord's food, the tongue is purified, and one gradually comes to understand who Krishna really is. Prabhupada explains that this verse is recorded in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1-234. Why is this verse so important? Because it involves engaging the mind and the senses, the tongue, in vibrating the name of Krishna and tasting food that is offered to Krishna. Everyone will have to eat every day. Everyone will speak some things every day. And this should be engaged in only eating foodstuff that is offered to Krishna and speaking of activities related to Krishna, chanting Krishna's name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. In the same Padma Purana, there's an explanation that this name of Krishna, Abhinatvam Nama Naminaha, the name of Krishna and the person Krishna is non-different. It is the same. Of course, in our conditioned stage, that may be difficult to understand. But this is the power of the name of Krishna, especially in Kali Yuga. Kali Kali Namarupe Krishna Avatar. In the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj described that in the age of Kali Yuga, Krishna is incarnated in his name. That means that simply by chanting his name, one can feel the presence of Lord Krishna. That is the power of the name of Krishna. Another very nice screen here. Kali Kali Namarupe Krishna Avatar, Namo Ete Hoy Sarva Jagata Nistar. In this age of Kali, the holy name of the Lord, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, is the incarnation of Lord Krishna. Simply by chanting the holy name, one associates with the Lord directly. Anyone who does this is certainly delivered. Now, there will always be a certain class of people, atheistic class of people, who do not accept the statements of the Shastra. They want to see. They want to see directly. Oh, can you show me God? Where is God? Even in ordinary affairs, if one tries to go see the president or the prime minister of a country, you cannot go directly see him. You'll have to go to his secretary or a confidential assistant. That is the normal system. You cannot demand to see the prime minister. They will ask you, who are you? What do you want to see the prime minister for? What do you wish to discuss? Srila Prabhupada was once asked, can you show me God? Or many times they was, have you seen God? Prabhupada would say, yes, you can also see. If you develop the eyes to see him, if you develop the qualifications to see him. And what is that qualification? One has to become purified. In the Vedas, it is described, na Veda devamarchayet. One cannot worship or access the Supreme Personality of Godhead without being godly themselves. In other words, one has to purify his existence by engaging in bhakti. And by engaging in the process of bhakti, beginning with hearing and chanting, one will become gradually purified. This is the recommendation of the Srimad Bhagavatam. This is also the recommendation of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And this was the recommendation of the foremost representative of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who taught that if you want to understand God, if you want to see God and associate with God, take up the process of loving devotional service to God. Prabhupada many times would say that if you want to see God, act in such a way that God will want to see you. And what is that? That is the process of bhakti, the process of devotion. This is what Kṛṣṇa describes in the Bhagavad Gita. Manmana bhavad mad bhakto madhyajimam namaskuru. Offer your obeisances unto me, engage your mind. Oh, again, here we go, very nice, not there. Manmana bhavad mad bhakto. Text 34. Next down. Manmana bhavavad bhakto madhyajimam namaskuru mamevesyachi yuktvaibam atmanam matparayanaha. Engage your mind always in thinking of me, offer obeisances and worship me, being completely absorbed in me, surely you will come to me. So this is the process. Prabhupada explains in the purport, sometimes unscrupulous commentators distort the meaning of what is clearly stated here, that all devotional service should be offered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Kṛṣṇa. Unfortunately, unscrupulous commentators divert the mind of the reader to that which is not at all feasible. Such commentators do not know that there is no difference between Kṛṣṇa's mind and Kṛṣṇa. Kṛṣṇa is not an ordinary human being. He is absolute truth. His body, mind, and he himself are one and absolute. It is stated in the Kurma Purana, as it is quoted by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami in his Anubhashya comments on Chaitanya Charitamrita, 5th chapter, Adi Lila, verses 41-48. Dehadehi vibedoyam nesvare vidyatik pachit, which means that there's no difference in Kṛṣṇa, the Supreme Lord, between himself and his body. But because they do not know the science of Kṛṣṇa, the commentators hide Kṛṣṇa and divide his personality from him or from his body. Although this is sheer ignorance of the science of Kṛṣṇa, some men make profit out of misleading the people. So this is a very important instruction from Srila Prabhupada, because the process of bhakti involves first ado shraddha, to have some initial faith, tata sadhu sango, to associate with saintly persons, with sadhus. Because if one does not associate with saintly persons, with sadhus, it is very difficult to make spiritual advancement. So the question may come, well, some people may say, I have a job, I have wife, I have family, I have children, I have so many responsibilities. How do I do that? Again, coming back to the fundamental principles, one has to hear submissively the message of Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, chant the name of Kṛṣṇa. So many times we would go on morning walks with Srila Prabhupada, and Prabhupada would chant some japa. And Srila Prabhupada would explain, he would often quote this verse from the Naradiya Purana, Harera Nama, Harera Nama, Harera Nama, Eva Kevalam, Kalau Nastyeva, Nastyeva, Nastyeva Gatiranyata. And I've seen personally, Prabhupada would make comments. In this age, the name of Kṛṣṇa, this is the only way to make spiritual advancement, to solve all problems. Because we see that people are often confused and misled by false propaganda with so many different alternatives. Now, here's the verse itself. Prabhupada explains, in this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, the only means of deliverance is the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. There is no other way. There is no other way. There is no other way. Prabhupada explains, because the people of this age are so fallen, they can simply chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. In this way, they can rid themselves of the bodily conception of life and become eligible to engage in the Lord's devotional service. One cannot engage in the devotional service of the Lord without being purified of all contamination. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, text 28. Yesham tvantagatam papam jananam punyakarmanam tidvanva mohanirmukta bhajante mam dridavrataha. Persons who have acted piously in previous lives and in this life, and whose sinful actions are completely eradicated, are freed from the dualities of delusion, and they engage themselves in my service with determination. Sometimes people are surprised to see young men and women take so seriously to the Krishna consciousness movement by giving up sinful activity, illicit sex, meat eating, intoxication and gambling, and strictly following the injunctions given by the spiritual master. They have become purified of all contamination. They can therefore fully engage in the devotional service of the Lord. So this is a very important instruction, because sometimes there's a misconception that if one chants, he can do any kind of nonsense and it will be counteracted by the chanting. That is not the proper attitude. Especially in India, we see there are so many professional kirtan people, professional Bhagavatam reciters, various kinds of sahaja and cheap devotees who practice kirtan, but they do not follow the proper process. And what happens? It becomes sahajiya, complete nonsense. One should avoid this tendency. How to avoid that? One has to hear regularly from the bona fide acharya. Bona fide acharya. We have very nice on the screen. Neil Shamar Prabhu is placed there. The 10 offenses to the holy name. Number 7, to commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name. The name of Kṛṣṇa is all powerful. By one name of Kṛṣṇa, one can clear out more contamination, more karma than one has accumulated in millions of lifetimes. Millions of lifetimes, just one name of Kṛṣṇa. But if one thinks that I can still commit more sinful activities because they'll be counteracted, that is the greatest offense. One should avoid that. Thank you very much for being part of this reading and discussion. We will turn the platform to Vishwakarma Prabhu in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Hare Krishna.
Glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much for that very insightful explanation of today's verses and how to become Krishna conscious in this lifetime, and stressing the importance of chanting the holy names as the way of becoming self-realized by the grace of Krishna and by the grace of the spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada. I thought it was important as well, just to go back to today's purport, the beginning of the purport. Prabhupada, the mystery is difficult to understand for those who are atheists, who are devoid of devotional service, Prabhupada says. For scholars who have simply studied Vedic literature by way of speculation or out of mere academic interest, Krishna is not easy to understand. I have the experience of specifically dealing with a scholar, and I mentioned him earlier at the beginning of the program, Professor Joseph O'Connell from the University of Toronto, who was specializing in Vedic Vaishnava philosophy. And it was interesting to note that I did meet him one time, and we were discussing the philosophy of Krishna consciousness together. And he said to me, Prabhu, I don't know if God really exists. I thought it was quite interesting for him to be a professor of this knowledge, and at the same time, he didn't believe or understand how God exists. And it proves this point, Prabhus, that spiritual life is not based on academic study. A lot of people, they memorize verses. Yes, they do. And then they repeat the verses. A lot of people are into that. They're scholars of certain level. Now, I have a specific example here. I'm noticing in a recent class I was watching given by Vaishya Sheikha in Silicon Valley. So he was using what's called bridge preaching to explain the philosophy. So he's more like a motivational speaker as opposed to repeating what he heard from our spiritual master and then explaining to his followers how to become Krishna conscious based on Prabhupada's teachings. No, he makes it up, concocts it, mental speculation. You can't become Krishna conscious through mental speculation. You have to repeat the exact words of your spiritual master. Yes, you can paraphrase them or explain them sincerely. It's a matter of intention. But to change them for whatever reason, this is a big mistake. And this bridge preaching, there's a recent expression that went out in America at the politicians. They were called, one of them called the American people garbage. Funny, huh? But we're saying the same thing. When a devotee, a Prabhupada disciple, changes the words for bridge preaching, Nilesh, that's garbage preaching. Or someone's trying to, this particular devotee in Silicon Valley, very astute with all the verses. Oh yeah, he's memorized all these verses. So he'll speak bridge preaching and then he'll quote Bhagavad Gita. Oh, it says in the Bhagavad Gita this or that. Do not use Krishna as a means of business exchange to get so many followers, or false ego to show how smart you are. Oh, look at how smart I am. These types of shallow representations of our philosophy by these people can be easily understood by those people who are actually sincere. Oh, yes. Sincere in following Prabhupada's instructions according to his directions and not due to their mental concoctions. That's what's going on. So much mental concoction. And the perfect example of this is Jayananda and Aprakrita Prabhus. Both of them were not interested in memorizing 1,000 verses to show how intellectually or academically they understood the philosophy. It wasn't a matter of that. It was a matter of getting up and doing your rounds. It was a matter of becoming servants of the servants of the servants of the spiritual master by practical application in their daily life. This is more important. And for us who have experienced thousands of people trying to come to this society and then fraudulently changing things, these things should be avoided by the sincere disciples. And these examples that are given of Jayananda Prabhu and Aprakrita are the steps that we should follow in practicing our own Krishna consciousness. I was just looking at a post of a devotee somewhere in Minnesota. That's interesting, Minnesota. And he goes, I just want to become a servant of the devotees. Because Krishna says, one who says he is my devotee, he is not my devotee, but one who is the devotee of my devotee, he is my devotee. Service to others. People are so much interested in serving. But the fact of the matter is, most people don't know how to work together with other devotees. They don't. That's going on. It's practically experienced. Very difficult to find people that are prepared to work together. Prabhupada, in his letter to me that we were reading earlier, he congratulated us on getting the temple. He sent the letter to me, but really it wasn't myself that got the temple. It was everybody. We all had particular roles to take. And back then in the 70s, everybody really at a certain level, especially in Canada here, the Canadian devotees worked together cooperatively. And it was very enlivening. Teamwork is a wonderful experience for people trying to achieve particular goals or become successful in whatever they're doing. Teamwork, not one person. And then cooperating with each other in that teamwork is key to the success of the effort. That's hard nowadays. People are changed. There's anarchy more going on, and this is practically seen. It is not through academic study or mental speculation that one can understand Krishna. Prabhupada gave the perfect example. How to understand our Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy and how to present it to others. And we are not in a position to change that. That's a mistake. It's actually a fault. Don't change it. This bridge preaching that's entered into the movement, complete concoction, nonsense. Or as I said earlier, Nilesh, garbage. Some people may say, well, how can you say that? Well, we're teaching this philosophy to others based on Prabhupada's instructions. Yes, there are three types of gurus: Vartman Padarshika gurus, Siksha gurus, and Diksha gurus. Well, Prabhupada wanted us to take the role, learn the philosophy, and explain it to others. You saw in the letter that Prabhupada sent to me, Nilesh, he was telling me, you hold the fire sacrifice. I accept them as my disciples. Not they become your disciples, you do the fire sacrifice, and you accept the karma. No. Very interesting. Siksha guru. So, some men make profit by misleading people, Prabhupada said, and Yashoda was highlighting that in the purports today, and it's important for us to know that. Don't mislead people. And finally, 16 rounds. We spoke about the importance of the chanting of the holy names. Yes, we did. And the key to success in spiritual life is to chant these names every day, make an effort to chant them. And 16 rounds was the prescribed number of rounds for all of us to follow. I know back in the day with Mukunda Prabhu, there's a wonderful pastime. And some people say, oh, I chant 64 rounds. And Prabhupada mentions in this pastime that he reduced it from 64 to 32. And you can look it up online, that pastime, and read the details of it. And then he moved the number of rounds down to 16 because it's practical. We have a lot of things that we do each day, but at least these 16 rounds are key to keeping us stable mentally. Stable. And it also blesses us with invaluable mercy, because Kṛṣṇa is within the heart as the Paramatma. Oh yeah. And we have to recognize that Kṛṣṇa watches us as we conduct our schedules daily. This is not some kind of hit and miss program of Kṛṣṇa consciousness. It's specific. So there are rules. There's so much to do. And we'll move forward here with further discussion from Yashoda Nandana on these topics.
Well, thank you for these comments. I want to read from a letter that Prabhupada wrote to one Gargamuni Maharaja on November 4th, 1970. November 4th, 1970. Prabhupada is explaining a very important point about what is the meaning of ISKCON? What is the meaning of the Kṛṣṇa consciousness movement? Prabhupada says, you have rightly appreciated my real mission, that whatever I have learned from Guru Maharaj, I want to present to the English-speaking public. Oh, very nice. Therefore, I've tried to present these Vedic literatures in such a way, beginning of the letter, please. I think you don't have the right letter here. Therefore, I've tried to present these Vedic literatures in such a way that the common man will be able to appreciate and understand them. Both you and your brother have always helped me in this mission. Now continue to help me in that way. Then Prabhupada goes on in the second paragraph, wherever Hare Krishna mantra is chanted, some words are spoken from one of our books and prasadam is distributed, that is considered a temple. We have no need of any large buildings or palaces. We are simple, Our great acharyas in the past, like the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, accepted dwelling under the trees. So we do not require any large buildings to do our preaching work. But if Kṛṣṇa supplies them, we may also accept any nice facility which he provides, but we will strive to go on preaching under all circumstances. If it is not possible for you to collect large money for me, then don't strain your brain. Just go on preaching as you are doing. Yes, you are right. The supply of money will come by your preaching efforts. You can approach rich men and preach to them about our movement and its aims. You have got much money in your country, so there should be no difficulty in doing this. I think you and Vishnujan Swami should remain and open as many temples as you can, especially in Florida. I have asked Brahmananda Swami to join me because I think he's feeling in too much despair. So as soon as he is able, he can join me. In writing this letter to you, I think I have answered Vishnujan Swami's points that he has written in his letter. The point of this paragraph being that Srila Prabhupada is explaining that wherever Hare Krishna mantra is chanted, some words are spoken from one of our books, and prasadam is distributed. That is considered a temple. So this is a very interesting, because we see that some people have the misconception that being in ISKCON is only in the official institutional temples. No, not necessarily, because we see that many people do not physically live in the official institutional temples, but doing very nicely, following the program, following the principles, reading the Bhagavatam, and making good progress. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Yes, absolutely. That's the fact. In fact, if you go to these groups nowadays, it becomes a disturbance to the serious devotee when they see that Prabhupada is being offended by the behavior of other so-called Vaishnavas. It becomes a disturbance to their mind. When the kirtan is changed, it becomes a disturbance. Sure, there may be benefit. I'm not sure how much when people chant. But a sincere soul that chants, they get tremendous benefit. But those who are adulterated by misconceptions and mental concoction and mental speculation, the real question is, what is the benefit? You know, here in this area, I'm preaching to people, trying to help some people become devotees. Very difficult, very difficult. So much mental speculation, so much desire for material sense gratification, so much mundane activity going on. But I've noticed amongst a few of my friends that they'll be speaking to me, and all of a sudden they go, Kṛṣṇa, Hare Krishna. Oh, Hare Krishna. They've heard me say it. If there's some kind of frustration, I might bring up the holy name in my conversation. And now they bring it up. Oh, Kṛṣṇa, oh, Kṛṣṇa. And every time they say that, Mother Rochisha, I absolutely feel ecstatic, because I know that they can't, as Yashoda had said, they can't commit as many sinful activities as that are purified from their hearts by the repetition sincerely of one holy name. Who can understand the transcendental mercy of the Lord upon these souls? But those that mislead people, especially in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya tradition, have serious consequences to deal with according to the laws of karma. And that is up to Kṛṣṇa and Prabhupada, of course. It's not up to us. Dharma Bhavana in Dallas, Texas. Maybe you could share some insights today at our Bhagavad Gita as it is reading and discussion.
Audible, my voice is not good. I'll comment next time.
Not good. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. And so let's see, Panchagoda in Ukraine. Is your microphone working, Prabhu?
Hare
Maybe-
Krishna, yes, Prabhuji, my microphone is all right. I have some lines in my camera, so it's not working, but
That's
mic is
fine.
all right. Yeah. Thank you for the class. I enjoyed very much, both of you and Yashodhanandana Prabhu, reading the letters of Srila Prabhupada. It gives so much real instructions, non-adulterated, and it gives inspiration. I think it's same freshness as it was 50 years ago. It's every day Nava Yovana, every day fresh, and you get all this enthusiasm and you can share to other devotees. So it's wonderful that you are continuing these classes, and many new devotees coming in that get inspired. So just keep on, and very happy to be with you. Haribol.
Well, thank you for your encouragement. And Prabhu's, just so you know, our friend Gaur Sundar is in Ukraine, a very difficult country to practice Krishna consciousness there, not only from the situation there of war, but also the situation with the disciples of, who's the main guru there, Gaur Sundar? Who is the main guru there, Radhanath?
Radhanath, Bhaktivigyan, Chaitanya Chandra, Charan.
Who are they're down in the disciplic succession from Radhanath, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah, Bhaktivigyan, he is a disciple of Radhanath.
Yeah, so you can see this is their own system of networking, it's called downline, their own downline of gurus. So they're at the top of the ladder, and they have all these other people who are claiming to be representatives of Srila Prabhupada. Not even claiming, they're representing these gurus. And in this way, the whole thing has become completely adulterated by their mental concoctions.
Vishwakarma Prabhu, may I set a little point? I heard a few days ago, Gargamuni Prabhu, he gave the class about Brahmananda's Prabhu letters back in 1976 and 77, when they had a lot of accidents involved with Kirtananda. And he gave so much history, it was very clear and very nice. And in the end of that program, he said that we should not concentrate on the faults of that demons, because Kirtananda, he wanted to steal the movement from Srila Prabhupada just from the beginning. So many cases, so many evidence by the letters of Srila Prabhupada. So knowing the history, it's perfect, but we should go further. We should preach, we should inspire people to make their own Namahatas programs, cooking prasadam, distributing, but not concentrating, not giving our energy to these demons, because they are somewhere in hellish conditions, So that was the point of Gargamuni Prabhu, and maybe you will expand that.
Well, I'm going to just make a quick comment. We are moving into a new section of preaching, which is going to be explaining to the masses the truth of life, the purpose of life. And these particular classes, which are for serious students, are important for all of them to learn the history of the process. And in this way, they can understand what is the correct way to follow Prabhupada's instructions by seeing how so many people have deviated. So this is called information. This is called information, correct information. It's not that this is the philosophy. What we present in our classes is no different than what was presented when we were running the programs in our temples back in the day. Oh yes, because we're reading the purports, We're reading the explanations, and this is all Prabhupada's explanations. So I'm not quite sure what he's trying to say. I hope he carries on and he can make a devotee himself sometime. I hope other people are trying to make devotees and doing some preaching, actually distributing prasadam, actually distributing books, actually doing things like this. So this is how we look at it. Nilesh Sharma in Miami, Florida, and I saw it was mentioned, Prabhupada was saying he liked the idea that there would be a center in Miami or in Florida.
Florida.
Very interesting.
Yes. Hare Krishna, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Greetings to everybody on Govardhan Puja Day. Very interesting shloka which came about. I'd like to kind of share this shloka again. Is that here in 1153, Krishna says, the form which you are seeing with your transcendental eyes cannot be understood simply by studying the Vedas, nor by undergoing serious penances, nor by charity, nor by worship. It is not by the means that one can see me as I am. So, if it is not by worship, it is not, number one, first of all, you need is transcendental eyes. How are you going to get the transcendental vision? So, understand the importance of surrendering to an Uttam Adhikari and who is ordered by his spiritual master to become a spiritual master who can give you these eyes. What do we say in Guru Puja every day? Chakshu dan dilo je janme janme prabhu se. What do you mean by that? Chakshudan. Chakshu means giving, donating an eyesight. The eyesight of what? Dilo je janme janme prabhu se. Birth after birth, Prabhupada is there to give us this divine vision. So let us say we got this divine vision. Now Kṛṣṇa is saying, are you going to be able to understand me even after getting this divine vision? So until and unless we don't have this praptasya kalyana gunarna vashya vande guru shri charanarvindam, to understand Kṛṣṇa, because remember, you won't be born again in this material world unless you don't know him in veti tattvataha. Janma karma cha me devyam yo me veti tattvataha. So this is so intricately involved with the proper disciplic succession which is required. Otherwise, you're not going to understand it. You're going to get lost. You think, oh, me learning Sanskrit, I will know it. Yes, you're doing tapasya to learn Sanskrit, but are you going to understand me? Kṛṣṇa is questioning you again. So, getting first the divine vision, that only a Guru Maharaj can give you. So, this is all coming down to underlying is what? Is Guru Tattva. Getting Guru's blessings to, number one, get the eyesight, and then number two, to understand Kṛṣṇa. Until and unless we don't have the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, the mercy of a bona fide spiritual master, how are you going to know Kṛṣṇa in Veti Tattvataha? So that is one point. I would love Yashodanandan Prabhu to question, to kind of propound on that. And then I have a second part to it, but I'll give it one point at a time.
This is a very important point, because unless one received the knowledge from disciplic succession, that so-called mantra or that so-called knowledge will not bear fruit. This is explained by Baladev Vidyabhushana in the Pramaya Ratnavali, and Prabhupada has quoted that many times. Sampradaya vihinaye mantraste nishpalamataha. That if you receive your mantra or your spiritual instruction outside of the bona fide parampara, nishpalamataha, they will be useless. There will be no result. Because sometimes people say, oh, anybody can chant Hare Krishna, you will get some benefit, some little benefit. Well, that's okay, but there's a process. There's a bona fide, systematic process of receiving this knowledge. This is very important because we see here right on the screen, the knowledge of the Supreme received from such a sampradaya or disciplic succession can give enlightenment from the bona fide disciplic succession. Because if one does not receive the knowledge from bona fide disciplic succession, even though one may try to practice, the effect will not be there. And Prabhupada gave the example of a very famous American musician that used to chant Hare Krishna on some of her records. And Prabhupada pointed out, yes, this is good. This is a good start, but she should follow the process. Otherwise, eventually it will deteriorate. And Prabhupada gives the example, if you get some fire, if you need some heat, you need to get close to the fire. Not simply that I've got a match and say, I've got some fire. No. One has to follow the proper process. Prabhupada, if one does not do things in the proper process, it will become sahaja, or cheap devotees who do not properly follow the process. And a lot of time it becomes full-fledged Mayavad. Hare Krishna.
Yes, and we've seen that going on, and unfortunately, it's become popular to be a sahaja. We're gonna end the class, but I know Nilesh has a specific question he'd like to ask, so we'll wind it up with this final comment and a comment by Yashoda. Yes, Prabhu, please.
So going back to the letter which Vishwakarma Prabhu was writing, where Prabhupada gives us very clearly that, so I have now issued the orders that all my disciples should avoid all my god brothers. Now, where is this order? I mean, do you know of any order? Because just like what's happening right now in US with the elections, there's suppression of truth. We know that there is a suppression of truth here. So
Yes.
some people may say like, oh, this is addressed to you, but here he has very clearly said, I have issued orders that all my disciples should avoid all my god brothers. They should not have any dealings with them, not even correspondence, nor should they give up any of my books or should purchase any of their books. Neither should you visit any of their temples. Please avoid them. Look at the clear-cut, what you call, instructions here. But the question is, where is the official directive?
Official directive.
Yes, where he says he has issued orders, so he has always given official directives.
Oh, well,
Is there
he just
any
goes
directive which
down
you have
and
heard
says,
of?
these are, Prabhu, he just said the directives are there below in the sentences. Do not purchase their books. Do not give them my books. Do
But
not,
this is
yeah, go
But
ahead.
this is a letter to you, Prabhuji. Whenever Prabhupada deals with ISKCON on a whole, he sends directives. Yashodanand Prabhu.
That same instruction in that same month was sent by Brahmananda Swami as the secretary of Srila Prabhupada with the exact same direction. It was sent to all the ISKCON temples. That was the specific written directive. Therefore, it is not acceptable for people to claim, oh, this was an instruction just to you, Vishwakarma and Yasoda. No, this was an instruction to all of his disciples and to any serious followers, because people may say, well, this is only for proper direct disciples. No, no, no. This was meant to any serious practitioner that wants to make spiritual advancement, to follow Srila Prabhupada, avoid those who have deviated from the order of the spiritual master. That is the lesson from this. Hare Krishna.
Yes, okay. And I do want to refer everyone to the letter, Nilesh. We won't go through it right now because we're moving to the end of the program, but the letter that Prabhupada sent to Rupanuga Prabhu about his godbrothers, and there will be in the future with our group, we'll have more references. There are multiple references to these instructions in other directives from Srila Prabhupada in his letters. So lots of support information. And this is very important that we're speaking and then we're also qualifying our statements with instructions that Prabhupada specifically gives in his letters Panchagoda. Yes. And in his books, yes, his purports, and in his lectures. So it's a huge collection of information that we have to critically study together as a group, and in this way get a clear understanding of how we're going to get up every day and go at our devotional service and be successful in spreading the Sankirtan movement according to Prabhupada's directions. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, and all glories to the Sankirtan movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We're going to move forward now with the Kirtan with Srila Prabhupada leading us in 1966 or so. And if you could chant along, it's 2.5 minutes. And then after that, we'll have the closing comments and move forward in our efforts to expand our Krishna consciousness movement here in this Kali Yuga world.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Let us offer our respectful obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances. We all offer our respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees and are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Thanks everybody for participating in this enlivening reading and discussion. Thanks Vishwakarma Prabhu in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, Neil Sharma Prabhu in Miami, Florida, Panchagoda in Ukraine, and our good friend in Dallas, Texas, Dharma Bhavana, and his wonderful associate, Krishna Katha in San Diego, and his wonderful display of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Rochi Samataji in Montreal, Canada, and everybody participating in this transcendental association. We invite you to come again tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock a.m. Pacific Standard Time, California time, corresponding to 10 o'clock a.m. Florida time, in Eastern Canadian time. Thanks, everybody, and we will see you all tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock a.m., 10 o'clock Eastern time. Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and his bona fide teachings and a wonderful celebration of Govardhan Puja and Go Puja today. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.